Are you supposed to have your name up in lights for that? Do you want a trophy for that? Because you're not going to get one. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To all of my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. As I upload this video on Father's Day, let me know in the comments if you're familiar with this story. There were two sons of an alcoholic father. One son struggles with life and is also an alcoholic. The other son is a successful businessman and an active member of society, with a flourishing family. When people ask them why they are the way they are, they give the common reply, because my father was an alcoholic. In the case of Charles and his two sons, Harry and William were brought up together under the same set of circumstances, with the most profoundly tragic event of their lives leaving an indelible psychological mark on them. But it's become apparent over the years that each of them have processed this tragedy very differently. William is his father's son, pretending to have it all under control, but with a very short fuse and lacking emotion. I don't care if this man is next in line to the throne. The air of entitlement and displays of pettiness towards his brother and sister-in-law are completely unnecessary. And if William hasn't done the work in relation to developing a balanced mindset, he's going to find his next role as king more challenging than he could ever have anticipated. In his memoir Spare, Harry makes allowances for Charles's shortcomings as a father. In my opinion, Harry was only able to do that after years of therapy, transitioning from the reckless young man in his late teens and 20s, falling out of nightclubs drunk and ready to punch the first paparazzo, to someone who has become a responsible husband, attentive father, and productive business partner. I'm sure, like all parents, myself included, Harry is not perfect, but I have to say, from what I've observed, he's doing a much better job than his father ever did.
I'm not angry anymore. There are things that will still anger me, but I'm not angry anymore because I am exactly where I'm supposed to be.
In my mind, Harry has a few reasons to revert to being bitter and angry. Reason number 1. In Diana's own words, Charles was disappointed that his second child was not a girl, and Harry's birth seemed to have been the catalyst to the breakdown of his parents' marriage. Not that Charles needed much of an excuse to run back to his side Camilla. Being rejected at birth, something millions of people have had to come to terms with and deal with its psychological effects, some not dealing with that very well. Reason number 2. While Britain continues to be disgusted at Rishi Sunak leaving the D-Day celebrations early last week, I'm reminded of Charles handing over the title of Colonel-in-Chief of Harry's old regiment to William last month. People should be more disgusted that Charles and William keep cosplaying in their military uniforms and turning up at these military events, despite never having taken part in any type of military conflict. Apart from Andrew, who loves to remind everybody that he took part in the 10-week Falklands War 42 years ago, you cannot dismiss Harry, who did 2 tours in Afghanistan, serving in the armed forces for 10 years, and saw things his brother and father would never ever see. But he was forbidden to wear his military uniform at his grandmother's funeral almost 2 years ago. Even now when Harry wears his medals, people have something negative to say. Explain something to me. How can you be angry at someone who actually earned those medals, but you're okay with members of the same family who never fought a day in their lives and wear their unwarranted medals as fancy dress? How does that work then? Reason number 3. The third reason Harry could justifiably be angry is that Charles apparently is not content with a FaceTime relationship with his youngest grandchildren. This man has the absolute audacity to make this complaint. This article is from themirror.co.uk, published on the 10th of June 2024. The headline reads, King Charles' sad bond with Archie and Lilibet and his heartbreaking wish. King Charles is said to have committed himself to building a relationship with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, and is keen to make up for lost time. King Charles's rift with his youngest son, Prince Harry, is still rumbling on, and the monarch is feeling one particular absence keenly. Their distance, both physically and emotionally, means that the monarch has hardly spent time with his 2 youngest grandchildren, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. He has only seen Archie, 5, in person a handful of times, and 3-year-old Lilibet once. But now Charles, who is undergoing cancer treatment, is said to have committed himself to building a relationship with the youngsters and is not content with only seeing them on video calls. Sources. These infamous sources, close to the 75-year-old, say he is keener than ever to focus on his family and his duties and make up for lost time. It wasn't always such a fraught relationship, especially with Archie, with the king saying he couldn't be more delighted when he was born in May 2019. When he was christened, the king's former Clarence House Instagram account shared a touching photo of Charles proudly gazing at Archie. However, as Harry and Meghan decided to dramatically quit as working royals and up sticks from the UK and move to the United States in early 2020, the king has spent little time with his young grandson. Their last meeting was in 2022 when Archie came to the UK with his parents during the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. However, when it came to the coronation last year, which coincided with Archie's 4th birthday, the youngster stayed in California with his mum Meghan, but it seems Archie wasn't far from the king's thoughts on his big day. At a special lunch after the coronation, a well-placed source said the monarch thanked everyone for their hard work and reportedly raised a glass to his 3 older grandchildren, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. He wanted to remember those that weren't there and wished Archie a very happy birthday wherever he was. It was apparently a very sweet moment, the source told Daily Mail. Meanwhile, when it comes to Lilibet, it appears they only have met once, when she came to the UK with her parents and brother Archie in 2022. And so it goes on. I mean, let me just take this with a big bucket of salt, okay? Because I don't understand how this story has come out in the last couple of days, 2 to 3 days. Is this not the same Charles that didn't have time to meet Harry. Now all of a sudden he wants to build a relationship with Harry's kids. He treats David Beckham more as a son than he does Harry. So what is this nonsense? This is just nonsense as far as I'm concerned. You know, Harry and Meghan didn't just move to the other side of the Atlantic the other day. They've been there for 4 years, over 4 years now. Is it only now, Charles, that you've decided you want a relationship with these younger grandchildren? Really? I'm not buying it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. So, Charles, if what is being reported in this article is true, here's an idea. How about you reinstate the security to your youngest son that your own mother had made provisions for, so that Harry and his family feel safe enough to make regular visits here? How about that? Or are you not seeing enough of your older grandchildren, therefore you're trying to guilt trip Harry by weaponizing your health condition? Is that the case? The day this video uploads is the day after Trooping the Colour, the event celebrating the official birthday of the monarch, because he can't just have one birthday like the rest of us, can he? So if the article we've just read is true, how do you explain this one? This article is from thedailymail.co.uk, published on the 5th of June 2024, and the headline reads, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have not been invited to Trooping the Colour for the 2nd year in a row. Oh my gosh! I'm sure they're really, really devastated. The pair will miss the annual celebrations for a 2nd year in a row, according to People magazine, after Harry, 39, and Meghan, 42, didn't join the royal family for the first birthday parade of King Charles's reign. It comes after claims Prince Harry, who did not meet with his father during his whirlwind visit to London last month, turned down an invitation by His Majesty to stay at a royal residence during the trip because he had security concerns. And it just goes on about security. Yeah. He's just going on about the security issue, etc., etc. I mean, this is just mad. So, having just read an article dated 14th of June 2024 from themirror.co.uk, last year's Trooping the Colour was estimated to have cost £10 million. So obviously it's going to be more this year. They also sell tickets for this event, ranging from £10 to £30. Apparently all the tickets were sold out. And I suspect the reason for that is because there were reports the day before that Kate would be appearing on the balcony. She's well enough now to appear in public. And that's exactly what's happened. So I guess this will end the speculation. This is why I'm saying that the tickets were sold out, because everyone wanted to see Kate. And they've seen her now, and she looks good. She looks really good. I'm not gonna take that away from her. For what she's apparently going through, she looks really good. And to see her with her children, yeah, she looks good. And I'm glad that she made the appearance. And, hopefully for her sake, she can just go back to trying to recover fully. But what Kensington Palace need to do, I'm going off on a tangent here right now. What Kensington Palace need to do is stop with the updates. We don't need any more updates. They shouldn't have given any in the first place, because this speculation got way out of hand over the last 6 months. So hopefully that's put paid to any further speculation regarding her well-being, etc. Going back to Harry and Meghan not being invited, I'm sure they've got more exciting things to do. They've had the Trooping the Colour experience. Meghan's had that experience already. It's not going to really change from year to year, is it? It's the same pageantry that people have come to expect. It's a long-standing tradition. So are they really missing anything? No. And again, people would just find all kinds of reasons to criticize. And I'm sure, all of that being said, Harry and Meghan would not be allowed to appear on the balcony because they are, in quotes, non-working royals. Eugenie and Beatrice didn't appear on the balcony. It was only William, Kate and their children, Camilla and Charles and Edward and Sophie, and I think their children. So, people paid to see Kate. They've seen her. Harry and Meghan, I'm sure they've, got more exciting things to do, more important things to do. So, yeah, all of this to have a jab at the couple, which contradicts Charles's apparent concerns about not seeing his grandchildren. That's why I wanted to include this article, because they contradict each other. Furthermore, Charles's birthday is not even in June. It's in November. Mad. When I refer to the UK tabloid media as trash, these conflicting articles are part of the reason why. Make up your mind, UK trash media. Does Charles want to see his youngest grandchildren or not? These contradictory reports are reflective of the type of behaviour you'd expect from an infant throwing himself on the floor and screaming his head off in the supermarket in order to get attention, because he hasn't got his own way. And make no mistake, Charles is not the only daddy acting like a baby in this whole saga, as much as I do not like to utter this man's name. Thomas Markle is another father who feels a sense of entitlement. This article is from NBCnews.com, published on January 23rd, 2020. And the headline reads, Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, says royals owe him and he should be rewarded. Duchess's dad had harsh words for his daughter, saying she is tossing it away for money by deciding to step back from her royal duties. Another Thomas Markle interview, another criticism of his famous daughter. The estranged father of Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, had harsh words for her decision to step back from royal duties with her husband, Prince Harry, calling it ridiculous and saying she's throwing away the royal life for money. Before I even go any further, I need to understand. How does that affect your life, Mr. Markle? It doesn't affect you at all. Let's be real. It does not affect you at all. Markle, 75, did an interview with Britain's Channel 5 in which he also said that Harry and Meghan owe him and that their decision to separate from the British royal family has tarnished the crown. The crown was tarnished before they stepped back. So I don't understand what you're talking about. She actually got every girl's dream, Markle said. Every young girl wanted to become a princess, and she got that. Not every young girl wanted to become a princess. And now she's tossing that away it looks like she's tossing it away for money. Apparently $3 million and a 26-bedroom home isn't enough for them. Channel 5 told NBC News that Markle was paid to participate in Thomas Markle, My Story. Can you see the hypocrisy? Can you see the absolute hypocrisy in what I've just read? He's accusing Harry and Meghan of stepping back because of money. That doesn't make sense to me, what he said in this article. But he's done this interview for money. And it goes on about, the run up to the wedding in 2018. And it talks about Meghan's letter, about which there was a court case. Just goes on about that. Now, my thing is, this is a situation this man finds himself in. Why are you so demanding? Why do you feel this sense of entitlement? Why didn't you just remain humble? Why didn't you just be quiet instead of listening to your elder daughter, who, at the end of the day, she just gives this vibe of, if I can't have it, you can't have it either. Because if you, Thomas Markle, had not listened to your elder daughter, your life would be very different right now. Your relationship with your younger daughter would be very different right now. But because for some reason you seem to be heavily influenced by your elder daughter, I don't want to call her name. It's almost like this woman bullies you and she can manipulate you and twist you around her little finger. You know, we all saw the pictures of you trying on these suits for Meghan and Harry's wedding and looking at maps of Britain, you know, and you admitted that they were staged and you did that for money. But you have the audacity to say this about your younger daughter. And this is what I always say. This man, his physical appearance, look at this man, okay? He opened the floodgates for everybody that looks like him in the media, in the British media, to attack Meghan. Because of his vitriol and his bitterness towards his own flesh and blood. If he can do that to his own daughter, these media types are thinking, well, we've got free reign. If he can do it, we should be able to do it as well. And he's never come out to defend her. He's always criticized her. These narcissistic fathers, and people say, oh, you know, you should make it up with your father before it's too late. How about these fathers come down off their high horse and make it up with their children? Some people, they can be a sperm donor, but they can't be dads. I'm sorry. They can be a sperm donor, but they can't actually perform the role of father, in my humble opinion. You know, this man, this is why I don't like to call his name, because he's so awful. He's so awful. You know, both these men, Harry's dad, Meghan's dad, both weaponize their health to guilt trip these children. They owe me. Meghan owes me. Meghan doesn't owe you anything. All you had to do was keep your mouth closed, humble up yourself, keep your skin quiet, and don't listen to your elder daughter, and your life would have been much better. We already know that this man does not have the same energy for his other two children, because let's be realistic. How can they help him when they can't even take care of themselves? Never has the saying, once a man, twice a child, been more appropriate. Which is why I always say wisdom doesn't necessarily come with age, because if it did, these two baby daddies, fathers with an infant mentality, would realise that making demands is not the way to get what you want. As long as these two bitter, stubborn men continue to remain jealous of their youngest children and are not willing to let go of their pride and ego, it might be best for them to just be content with the situations they find themselves in, because essentially their time is coming to a close. I, for one, am happy to see that Harry has not adopted the same parenting style as his father, but rather has used his father as an example of how not to interact with his own children. This article is from people.com, published on the 4th of March 2023. Prince Harry says he prioritises affection for Archie and Lilibet, smother them with love. The Duke of Sussex said it's important for him to show son Archie 3 and daughter Lilibet 1 lots of love and affection. Prince Harry is focused on being the best father possible to Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana. The Duke of Sussex 38 opened up about fatherhood in an intimate conversation with Dr. Gabor Mate on Saturday to discuss his memoir Spare. During the virtual book event, Mate, an expert who specialises in trauma, addiction, stress and childhood development, referenced a few passages in his book where Harry revisited times during his childhood when he wished his father, King Charles, and grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, had been more physically affectionate. Mate asked Harry how the lack of physical contact has shaped his parenting philosophy today. It leaves me in the position how, as a father, I have 2 kids of my own, making sure that I smother them with love and affection. Prince Harry said, joking that he doesn't smother them to the point that they're trying to get away. But in the sense that I, as a father, feel a huge responsibility to ensure that I don't pass on any traumas or negative experiences I've had, he continued. And that's work. That's putting in the work and daily being conscious of my behaviour, of my reactions to both of my kids. And there are times when I catch myself in a moment when I should be smothering them with that love, and in that moment, I might not be, reminding myself too. I wouldn't have been as aware of it had I not done the therapy and work that I've done. Mate asked Harry to imagine what the impact would be of Archie 3 and Lilibet 1 not getting the hugging the way you didn't get it. I don't know what the impact would be, but I imagine the result would be similar, Harry said of his young son and daughter, who he shares with wife Meghan Markle. That's why, again, I am grateful to have been able to change my environment, which I fully appreciate that not everyone can do because it comes down to resource, he continued, referencing his family's move from the UK to California after he and Meghan stepped back from their royal roles in early 2020. To be able to change the root cause of so much of those issues, to be able to move, that to me feels as though it gives me much more of a chance and my wife more agency as parents, to be able to bring our kids up in a way that's really beneficial and good for them, he said. The Duke of Sussex added that he had an incredible childhood, elements of it were incredibly painful. Now, this is the first time I've read that article, and I am aware of the interview that it refers to because I think it was a paid event online. This for me is very insightful because it underscores what I've been saying all along about Harry. This Harry that we see today is not the one that I saw, growing up, especially after his mum died. He went off the rails, literally. He was a rebel. He was a little demon. Okay. I mean, some people, they go through life and they don't grow up. Harry has matured significantly, and this is why I applaud him, because he has put in the work. He's put in the work. And this is why I referenced that very short story at the beginning of the video, because we can have the same parents, but we see life through a different lens, each of us. We can grow up in the same household, same set of circumstances, and go through the same experiences, but ultimately our perception is what shapes us. And Harry is very self-aware, very mentally balanced. The fact that he talks about his kids like this, for me, is very heartwarming. And that's why I said in a previous video, he would make a better king than William, because he is quite empathetic. Harry is quite empathetic. Now, having left that bubble where this air of self-entitlement is pervasive, you come out of that and you see the real world for what it is. And it's not all, gold and silver, diamond. Life is not like that. So I applaud Harry. I'm glad that he sees things for what they are. And Ultimately, it's evident that Harry aims to be the father to his kids that Charles could never be to him, and long may Harry continue to do an excellent job. So today, let's acknowledge and celebrate all of those fathers who are working at cultivating, developing, and maintaining healthy relationships with their own children, whether those children are under 5, over 40, or any age in between. So guys, it's Father's Day. Let me add my 2 cents before I finally end this video. This is quite a reflective time of year for me, because I lost my dad on Father's Day in 2021, so 3 years ago. Can't believe it's 3 years already. I'm not sad because I have peace about him passing, and I'll get into that in a minute. I am very reflective. So there's a nice full stop at the end of that chapter. Why I'm not sad is because I remember the Thursday before he passed, because he was quite ill, and I basically looked after him. So he asked me to take him to the supermarket, and while we were in the car, we weren't having a conversation. The music was just on, and then all of a sudden he turns round and he says, "I don't think I've got long left." And he said it so calmly, and because he said it so calmly, I didn't get agitated. I was like, okay, Dad is trying to he's trying to prepare me for what's to come, and that sounds like it's going to be quite soon. So, you know, did what we had to do, came back, and then where he lived, there a number of stairs you have to climb to get to his flat on the 3rd floor, because they didn't have lifts in there, and I knew he was going to struggle. So I went ahead of him, did what I had to do, put away the shopping. By the time he got up to the top of the stairs, I kind of finished, and I had said in my mind, I thought to myself, this is the last time Dad is going to climb these stairs. I don't know what made me think. I just instinctively said that to myself. So I said that I made sure he was okay. I said I had to go now. And then he went like this, like with his outstretched arms and beckoning me towards him. My dad has never done that before. I was like, what's that? So he was like, come. So I came to him and he gave me a big hug, and he held me and he said, "I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you've done for me, and I love you very much." My dad has never ever said that to me before. I was 50 at the time that he passed. In all of those years, I've never heard my dad express himself in that way, because a lot of men, let me say from Jamaica, because that's what I know them to be like, of that generation. They don't show emotion. So that's what I was used to growing up. My dad and I had a very up and down relationship. There were times that we had gone through periods where we didn't speak because of nonsense. But when I came back from Barcelona in 2015, because I lived out there for a while, and he was not in good health around that time. So when I came back, I said I'd check in on him regularly. He's not the type of person, I'm talking about him in the present tense. He's not the type of person to ask for help, but so I had to insist. And the more I checked up on him, the more he came to accept my help, and he actually relied on me a lot more. And I ended up caring for him in the last few years of his life. Anyone that's a carer knows that is not an easy job, and people do become resentful. I wasn't resentful because I was happy to do it. I offered to do it. And if him not asking me for help made me want to do it more. So I had said to someone, if you put a pile of £1 million next to my dad, and my dad had said that, I wouldn't even think about the £1 million. I'll be like, what my dad said to me on that day, you couldn't put a price on that, and no one can take that away from me. My dad has never said to me, you owe me. Never said that. So I was just disgusted when when the way that Meghan's dad was behaving. What does she owe you? She's not obliged to give you anything. From what I understand, she was prepared to do that anyway. She would have been prepared to do that, but you messed it up. When I was 16, I was in my rebellious phase. My mum and I can laugh about it now, but it wasn't funny at the time because I was quite. There was a lot of things going on, and I was quite angry about a lot of things. And I would say to her, I didn't ask to be born. And the truth is, we don't ask to be born. My daughter didn't ask to be born. So Meghan's dad, you provided for her. You provided food, water, shelter, clothing. Your resources provided a good education for her. You sent her to good schools. Is that not your job as a father? Do you expect to get extra credit for that? Are you supposed to have your name up in lights for that? Do you want a trophy for that? Because you're not going to get one. This very idea of you owe me because I've done everything for you. That's the language of a narcissist. And I can say that because I've dealt with them before. The amount of people that have said to me, if it were not for me, you wouldn't have this. As soon as you say that to me, we cannot associate anymore because I refuse to be beholden to you. I don't care who you are. I refuse to be beholden to you. My pride, I have too much dignity to, not end up in a worse situation simply because you said to me, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have this. I'd rather do without, to be quite honest, because you're not going to have that over me. It's narcissistic behavior and it's disgusting. And for a father to do that to their own child, what does that say about you as a parent? And this is how Charles and Thomas behave. Charles and Thomas, like we're mates. Well, you know who I'm talking about. Harry's dad and Meghan's dad. This is how they are. And they haven't evolved. And this is why I call them baby daddies. Because they have not evolved. They are at a senior age, but mentally, they're not there. Their kids are more mature than them. Their youngest children are more mature than them, should I say. And I'm sure I've read in a report, I can't cite it now, but I'm sure Thomas Markle had said he was prepared to take Meghan to court in order to see his grandchildren, her children. He's got other grandkids. He doesn't have that energy for them. I don't even think they have anything to do with him. I could be wrong. But you don't have energy. You have energy to want to take your daughter to court, exacerbating what is already a very tricky situation. And you think you're going to get a very positive result out of a negative situation, negative circumstances. How does that work? That's not even logical. You're trying to force this woman's hand, your own daughter's hand, thinking you're going to get what you want. You will never get what you want. Because the more you try to force somebody to do something, the more resistant they will be. Very manipulative, very narcissistic, very much so. And it can't work. It's not going to work. So all that's left for me to say, guys, is happy Father's Day to all the fathers who watch this channel. Whether your children are biologically yours or whether you are in guardianship of children that are not biologically yours, whatever capacity, whether it's uncle, grandfather, older brother, actual father. Happy Father's Day. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep investing in those children. Don't expect anything back, because the sacrifices that you make today, you will see the return on your investment in the next decade, 15 years, 20 years. If your intentions are pure, you will see these kids, whatever these kids achieve, positive outcomes, it will reflect on you. So please do your best with these kids. Enjoy Father's Day. And don't tell them that they owe you. Please don't do that. Guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.